Huddle around as Climbing the Pocket Network presents Jason and the boys talking everything Minnesota Vikings. Watch the countdown timer.
Away we go again. Lost like I'm lost on purpose. If found, please return to. Girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before when I get home, Girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before when I get home, My vision blurry, I'm paying the cost. I'm not enough. In fact, it's even better when you're not involved. When I miss your call, I feel that I evolve. Cause as you mentioned, I am more dependent than a college student on their parents or an old person on their pension. Not to mention, when you hit me on WhatsApp without attention, and a bad booty bitch watched and she looks tempting. Look, my Achilles heel is when I say what I feel, you say, baby, come home, and I don't think that I will, cause all this motherfucking stress is gonna get me killed. Woo. Girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before when I get home, Girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before when I get home,
Huddle around as Climbing the Pocket Network presents Jason and the boys talking everything Minnesota Vikings.
No, I can't play these games. No, you can't disrespect and call me names. Sending me signals like you about to switch lanes. Well, go on, do your thing. Go on, do your thing. I mix champagne and propane, get lit. I'm trying to forget all the things that you said, all the things that we did. Girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before when I get home, Girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before when I get home, Watch the breakdown. And I get home when I get home. You just gonna act like we normal now. Good luck. Don't you try to call me with that bullshit, telling me you're sorry. You act too quick. That's somebody else's problem now. You're somebody else's problem now. Don't you try to call me with that bullshit, telling me you're sorry. You act too quick. That's somebody else's problem now. You're somebody else's problem now.
Boom. We are back. We are live. We are flipless, but we are going anyway. We're going to do this thing. Hopefully at some point the man, the myth, the legend, Flip Mozzie comes through, but it's all good. We are back for another week of In the Huddle. My name is Jason Brown. You can find me on Twitter at BrownJason. And I'm joined again this week with some new faces for this show, but familiar faces to the CTP family. We got Deshaun, my man, fresh off the debut show, CTP Monday. How you doing? How you been?
Hey, I'm good, man. I had to pop back in here. We had such a good showing on Monday that I just had to come and show my face again. Talk
There
some
we
Minnesota
go.
Vikings.
I love it. I love it. I love it. My man, Mr. Peloton, Ryan, how's it going?
Man, I need to get back on that bike, man. I had that back injury, and I'm I'm gaining those pounds back. But no, I'm doing well, man. I had to roll in with you guys today, and I got to check out Joseph down in Miami here in the chat because he's always on these shows. So excited to interact with the fans a little bit and talk a little football.
Love it, love it, love it. And Ryan, it's training camp season. Everyone is in the best shape of their life. So I need you to get on it, work on it. Let's do it. Let's jump in. As Jeffrey said during the roll-in, as others have mentioned, it's an exciting time. It's depth chart day. And Deshaun, I'm actually going to you first because I feel like y'all might have predicted some of the things that popped off on this depth chart today. So I'm gonna need you to jump in, remind the folks of your prognostication skills, and then give us your takes on what you were thinking after taking a quick look at the first depth chart of the season.
So while I wish I could take credit for it, it was all Tyler. I actually disagree with him, but he said we had to have a conversation about Cam Dantzler being that CB4, at least starting the season, and he was right on. He was spot on. They have Rashad Breeland as the starter. I think both have had kind of a silent camp. Cam Dantzler has been good when he's not covering Jefferson. So I still think those guys will be, within 100, 150 snaps of each other, like we said last night. But yeah, Tyler was spot on with that one. With the rest of the depth chart.
First things first, Deshaun. It's your show, and Tyler's not here. So the rules are you get to take credit for all that. Tyler who? Deshaun did that. I don't see Tyler here anywhere. Your show, you did it. Continue. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
I got you. I got you. A couple things that I like to see. I like seeing them putting Udo as the starting right guard. They said, forget Dozier has been out there. This guy has been killing it in camp. Give him what he deserves. So he gets that starting position. I like that a lot. I like that they put Jake Browning QB2. I know Kellen Mond is the hype now, but Jake Browning, he's been doing better. Put him QB2. Also, something that kind of surprised Nick Virgil, I believe his name is. He's been making plays in camp, but I thought Troy Dye would do something and try to fight for that spot, but it looks like it's kind of locked down by Virgil. And Weatherly, they put. I kind of expected him to be that starter there, but he's been kind of quiet. He's been quiet in camp. And Patrick Jones wanting who they're doing athletic stuff with. But again, I think that group will rotate a lot. But for now, Weatherly gets the starting nod.
All right, Ryan. So I'll flip it over to you here. What were your biggest, thoughts? What surprised you the most? Outside of Dede not being wide receiver 3, what was your biggest disappointment? Talk to me, man. How you feeling about this first run of the depth chart?
Yeah, not a ton of surprise for me, honestly. I was really, ever since we signed Rashad Breeland, I called out he would be our CB2. And assuming, and again, and it's hard to call Dantzler at CB4 because he's really CB3. He's just not slot receiver, right? Or a slot cornerback, right? So I think there's going to be a good rotation there. Zim likes to rotate his corners in and out and try to keep them fresh. So I'm not too worried about that from a Dantzler development standpoint. But yeah, Dede Westbrook not being wide receiver 3 was kind of disappointing. But actually, what's more disappointing is the way the depth chart was kind of listed out on the website is, they list the starter or starters, right? JJ and Thielen. And then when there are like tiers that they've had relatively defined, it looks like they put like name. So like, for example, KJ Osborne and Chad Beebe. And then the next tier was Amir Smith-Marset, Dede Westbrook, Blake Prohl, right? So it was kind of like disheartening to see Chad Beebe's name in that kind of second tier because there's zero chance this guy should be making the roster. I just don't understand it. I didn't like it last year. I didn't like it 2 years ago. I just don't get the infatuation with him. But yeah, and then to go to Deshaun's point, Weatherly being in there was, I guess, expected. I don't think that that's going to be the season opener roster there. I think that Wanham and or Patrick Jones will be able to, make some headway on that. I just based on what I'm hearing in camp, Weatherly is fine. He's going to be a good rotational piece. I don't think he's doing anything spectacular where Wanham is making plays and Patrick Jones is making plays. And I think we're going to punt Janarius Robinson into next year. In terms of his development, he'll get some reps this year. He'll make the squad, I think, because he's too valuable to put on practice squad. But I don't think that he's going to get that many reps. So yeah, I mean, I guess those are some of my thoughts here. Another interesting was Miles Dorn made the kind of second tier safety over Josh Martellus, which by all accounts, Josh was supposed to have that kind of backup safety spot locked in with Cam Bynum, and it looks like he's lost a little headway to Miles Dorn there. So,
all right, I love it. And so, with that in mind, and with the depth chart first coming out, I guess we can now kind of take some of what Zim was saying before, marry it up against what we're seeing in this first depth chart. And he's here, he has arrived. No theme music today because, you know, the show's already going. But the man, the myth, the legend, the Flip Mozzie has joined us. Flip, depth charts out. How do you marry what you heard from Mike Zimmer with, you know, when he was talking about kind of where things are, the rookies? He did give a shout out to our rookie wide receiver. You know, Ryan was just kind of, you know, waxing philosophically about, you know, Chad Beebe still being in the mix for that wide receiver 3 spot. What are your thoughts when you think about Zimmer's last press conference and then this depth chart when you see it? And is there anything that you find surprising?
You know, with everything we've been hearing from camp, from, you know, Arif Hassan, Luke Braun, Eric Thompson is there, Matt Collar is there. I think everything is pretty much in line. What's up, my man, Mr. Shea? Good to see you in the comments. So I'm not surprised. I think what I'm actually interested in now is more of how Mike Zimmer's been talking about how to manage the starters between the 3 preseason games. And, you know, I think it's easy at the top of the starter list where you have, you know, your Dalvin Cook, your Kirk Cousins, your Harrison Smith. They might not be coming out in the preseason games, but when you have some of those new starters like an Oli Udo or like a Garrett Bradbury or an Ezra Cleveland, I mean, that's a completely different class of starter. You know, you still want to see DJ Wanham out there in the preseason. You still want to see Oli Udo. Do you want to see, you know, Justin Jefferson? I don't know. So that's really is going to be the most interesting part of how this depth chart compares to what they actually show us on Saturday.
Oh, that's a great point. Deshaun, talk to me about that. How much do you want to see, say, our first team offensive line run together during preseason when you're weighing the risk reward of, you know, them getting time together, some continuity, but then also, you know, it's football. So the ever present risk of injury or something like that. Like, as you think about what Flip just said, what are you hoping to see? Which players are you hoping maybe get a bit more run? Which ones are you hoping we don't see too much of?
I don't think, but outside of Brian O'Neill, I don't think there's anybody on the offensive line that's kind of earned the right to be like worried about injury. I think besides that right side, all 4 guys still need to go out there and prove themselves, like every single one. So until the Broncos take out their starters on the defensive line, I'm keeping all those guys in. I think those guys really the season depends so much on them that they have to be out there. You can't worry about injury. You really just need to get those guys going.
I love it. Ryan, are you in the same boat, or are you thinking anything differently, especially with the offensive line?
yeah, actually, I think the offensive line should get some reps, especially this first game. Again, to everyone's point, there's no continuity yet. I mean, we have a new right guard, we have a relatively new left guard, new left tackle. All, you know, again, I know Rashad Hill's been here, but he hasn't been a starter, right? And he hasn't had a ton of reps with these guys. And I think even Brian O'Neill, he has a new right guard right next to him. So I think you need to get that continuity going in this first game, maybe, you know, a quarter, if that. And then you can take them out. And then in the second game, give them a good run. And then the third game, I think we should just sit all starters who are at least established, who aren't still fighting for their job or for the starting job, and kind of see what the young guys are doing in that third game. And I think that goes the same, again, for everyone who's not like a legit bona fide starter. So yes, Danielle Hunter, Harrison Smith, Patrick Peterson, you know, the 2 receivers, they can all sit. I think Kirk Cousins should still play. He should still be fighting for his job because he's not that good. No, no, seriously, I think all those like legit starters should be sitting this first game or maybe getting a series, because it is important, especially for those defensive guys too. They need live action reps. Like you need, like, because you can't tackle in preseason or like training camp anymore. You can't have those type of practices anymore just due to the CBA. So you need to get those live reps to just get a few tackles in there, because in real game time play, if you haven't gotten a real tackle in and you miss a couple, you're going to be pissed. Us fans are going to be pissed. Coaches are going to be pissed, and you're probably pissed at yourself too, right? So get a couple of those reps in the preseason, and then move on. It was kind of my thought. And yes, Joe, I am drinking Four Roses. Yes.
So, Deshaun, we have Flip here, we have you here, and I think it's an interesting mix, because you two tend to come in at kind of opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to like the importance of the draft. And so, as we're talking about the offensive line, some names that were noticeably absent from our conversation were the rookies. And Deshaun, I know that you after this draft were very, very high on what the Vikings had done, in large part because of the rookies they brought in to help bolster this offensive line. So knowing how much you kind of believe the offensive line is kind of the key of how far this Viking season is going to go, is what are your thoughts on where we're at now, given that the two key pieces that you thought were going to come in and bolster things are nowhere to really be seen? They're nursing injuries, and they seem to be falling further behind in the competition, day over day, week over week. And, the way that people are talking about Oli Udoh, I mean, Davis, he may just become like a swing backup if he's lucky this season. I guess, what are your thoughts on the impact you still expect these players to have for us this season? Or do you think maybe we're pushing that out to a longer time horizon now?
I think the Vikings got extremely lucky with who they already had on the roster. Rashad Hill isn't someone who can start 16 games for you, but he is someone who can start 2-3 games and put in a good effort. So Darisaw doesn't even have to start the opener. So we can put Rashad Hill out there against the Bengals and he'll do fine. So, and then Wyatt Davis, we got lucky with Oli Udoh coming in and being that dominant starter guy, so whereas we don't have to force these expectations on Wyatt Davis early. Now, I expect him to be kind of that swing guard backup guy. As you saw, they were cross-training him to be that guy if they need him to be. If he's falling behind in camp, it's a bad thing. But again, they got lucky that Oli Udoh just happens to step in at right guard and is now doing amazing. So I think
is that luck though, or is that like talent on the coach, like praise to the coaching staff for developing this guy over the last 2 years?
So I personally have been on Oli Udoh since he's been drafted. That was at right tackle. There's always kind of that transition is not an easy one to make. But for him physically, it should have been best. It should have been what he's been doing since last season. He's
what are we like? What it's August 10th, y'all. Like what are we doing crowning Oli Udoh? Like, we may be unlucky that they're so desperate that they feel the need to start the guy, and he's going to go out there, and Rashad Hill is going to get his butt whooped, week 1 against Cincinnati, and then we're going to be right back to the 2016 through 2020 offensive line woes of the Minnesota Vikings. I don't buy it for a second. The truth of the matter is these rookies are rookies. It's going to take them some time, and until then, it's going to be a struggle. Let's not act like everything's okay. We are limping by hoping that Rashad Hill and Oli Udoh can give the rookies more time to develop into the players we need them to be. This is not a positive. I don't get a warm and fuzzy feeling about this offensive line. It's the same offensive line feeling that I've gotten the last 5 years. We're just hoping that it actually works out this time. But you talk to me 2020, Ryan's pumped about Drew Samia. You talk to me 2019, people are still pumping up Pat Elflein. You talk to me 2018, people are talking about how Mike Harris can still do another year. You talk to me 2017, people are talking about Jake Long or whoever. No, this is no different. It's just another name in the same damn situation.
If we do go back to 2019. Is it 2019? Our man JR did say that Oli Udoh was a player to watch once he did get a couple years of development under him. So, I mean, to Ryan's point, could this just be this very raw, very athletic player, limited experience, limited exposure to football, getting some time, NFL coaching, and actually developing the way, I mean, to be fair, Flip, that you say that we really should be looking to develop a team, getting those young guys in, getting them the reps, keeping them in the building, and coaching them up to a place where they are ready to go a couple years down the road. I mean, is it not fair for us to maybe look at a player with the gifts athletically that Oli Udo has now stepping up a few years into his career with some seasoning?
I think the missing piece of information there is why it took so long. What did Oli Udo do between February 2021 and August 2021? Because we limped by with Dakota Dozier all year last year and decided to keep this guy on the bench. I mean, if they saw something then why not go to them when they're trying to hold on to a playoff race and, starting 1-5? It would seem like a pretty good situation to put in a raw athletic guard into when you're 1-5 and you got Dakota Dozier there. Now, you know what?
I mean,
Dakota Dozier's still fighting for the spot. So I'm not crowning Oli Udo this year either, because Dozier could be the week 1 starting guard.
I guess what I'll say on that, though, too, Flip, is, it doesn't seem like Udo was doing much work at guard last year. I think they did primarily view him as a tackle. And to your point, though, is this a coaching issue or is this a player issue? Because it could be a coaching issue on a positive and negative, right? Do we coach him up well enough at guard that he's hopefully our starting guard at right guard over Dozier, which obviously none of us want, right? Or is it bad coaching last year that they didn't see the talent for this guy to be able to move inside to guard? So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Is it good coaching, bad coaching, either way, right? What I'll say, just quick to kind of reiterate some of the rookies, right? On the draft show, we'd had me and Dave and Tyler and all of us cats, we spent 3 days straight on the draft talking about all the different scenarios, all the different talent that we were incorporating in our team. And I kept saying, and I said it on shows since, we can't be crowning Wyatt Davis this generational talent yet. He was picked in the 3rd round for a reason. He fell to the 3rd round for a reason. Viking fans, do not get your hopes up on Wyatt Davis, because he's just like Drew Samia fell to the 4th, and I thought it was a steal. I've learned my lesson that, hey, he fell to the 4th for a reason, and he's going to be out of the league here soon. So Wyatt Davis, although he had a lot of talent, he was touted as a 1st-round pick, he fell to the 3rd for a reason. And we're seeing why. We're seeing why right now. I mean, he's got a converted right tackle beating him out. He's got a guy who's on his ass half the time beating him out. And granted, there's some injuries that we have to kind of take into account here. But at the same time, injuries be damned. You've been practicing for at least a week and a half. You should be making some movement up that depth chart. And he's 3rd team right now, according to that depth chart that just came out. Now, I know Zimmer, he doesn't want to coddle these guys and anoint them any, opportunities. You have to earn it and you have to be on the field to do so. But I'm kind of disappointed at the fact that Wyatt Davis is considered. I mean, literally, Drew Samia is currently right now the backup left guard. There should be zero reason for that. There should be zero reason for that.
And I feel like Vikings.com was trolling me earlier today when I was listening to the press conferences, and I went over there, and the first video that popped up from a press conference was Dakota Dozier. And I was like, what is happening? And what are they doing to me? My heart can't take. Why? Why am I hearing from Dakota Dozier first? I don't want that. I don't want to hear anything from Dakota Dozier. But, I mean, hearing that he is moving down the depth chart, that works for me. But, I guess like Flip said, it maybe is a bit too early to crown Oli Udo, though it would be a great story. And, we'd probably never hear the end of it from JR, but it would be a great story all the same if Oli Udo did work out and turn into something
I
great.
would love it. You grow Oli Udo into that role. You give Garrett Bradbury a make it or break it year, and if Udo pans out, then you look at Wyatt Davis as your center, and that's a good young offensive line, y'all. So, let's wait.
Properly.
Let's see it plan out. Let's develop. Let's grow these players, and see how it goes.
And honestly, for me, Garrett Bradbury is still my biggest concern on the offensive line right now.
More than Rashad Hill.
More than Rashad Hill.
Oh wow.
You keep hearing Bradbury getting worked by Michael Pierce all camps so far that Pierce has been playing, and he's going to play Akeem Hicks again. He's going to play Kenny Clark again. He's going to play these guys. I think the Lions picked up a pretty good D tackle. I forget the name. Like he's going to be playing these big guys, and hopefully these reps against Michael Pierce do help him. I mean, that was mentioned in the press conference, but at the same time, he's just getting worked and worked and worked. And I just don't think he's suited for the passing game in the NFL. He's a good run blocker. I just think he's suited for the passing game in the NFL. And that's why I wanted Creed Humphrey.
Where you at with that take? Flip, where you at with that take? I mean, of course you wanted Creed Humphrey, but we're just going to skate right past that. Rashad Hill, Bradbury, bigger liability. Not just individual player, but given the positions they play and the importance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Which one has you more nervous? If this is in fact the starting, line group that we're going to be going into week 1 with,
it's Bradbury. I mean, purely because when the Vikings apparently they have to move positions on a guy in order to see them succeed. You draft a left tackle, he's got to play right tackle. You draft a left tackle, he's got to play right guard. You draft a right tackle, he's got to play left guard. So I don't even know. All I know is they drafted a center, Garrett Bradbury, and now we're just hoping that the guard they drafted moves to center to replace him if he doesn't pan out. So the shuffle is endless.
Yeah, and I don't think that Seth is wrong. The hyper focus on those small athletic run blocking guys was going to be the death of Kirk Cousins and this passing offense. So it's, if nothing else, it's nice to see some bigger, stronger dudes trying to set the pocket. And our hope is that the center isn't getting walked back into the QB's lap on every play as we
got CJ Ham, we got the fullback chip. We got the chip. We got Alex Madison in there. He's not going to get any carries, so might as well chip. help out Bradbury.
Ryan, I'm going to put you on the spot, in part because I know that you know way too much about other teams that aren't the Vikings. And so we're going to pretend that this, we're getting ready. It's the off season for all of us. It's our preseason too. We got a game coming up. Talk to me about this matchup. The Broncos, our Vikings. What are you looking for in this game in maybe 7 minutes when starters are actually playing football?
Yeah, I think it's going to be actually a few good challenges. Now, let me quick back up onto one of your comments. I do know a lot about a lot of other teams, mainly the ones that have Oklahoma players. So I'm a big Browns guy, Cardinals guy. There's not too many Oklahoma players on the Broncos, but I do know a little bit about them. So, yeah, I mean, I think the biggest matchup for us that's going to be exciting for us to see, depending on how long we keep those starters in, is going to be the matchup of their wide receivers, which is a really strong wide receiver group against our newly formed secondary. It'll be good to see Jerry Jeudy go up against the likes of Patrick Peterson and Rashawn Breeland. It's going to be exciting to watch Cortland Sutton, see how he does against some of these guys. I know, it'd be fun to see Dantzler go up against him because, that size should help benefit him with the bigger size receiver in Cortland Sutton. So I think that matchup is going to be really interesting to watch. I think that there's a lot of talent on that on their wide receiver group, and it'll really test our secondary to see kind of how far we came since last year. The next matchup I'd look at is their D line versus our offensive line. Obviously, they got some really high quality players. We'll see how much they actually play. But Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, Shelby Harris, a lot of these guys are uber talented. So it would be a good challenge. Now, obviously, I don't expect Von Miller to play. I probably don't even expect Bradley Chubb to play. But if this was a real, regular season game, that would be a really good matchup for our offensive to see kind of, again, level set. Where are we at? Because that would, provide us kind of just a little bit of knowledge in that. So I think those are my two top matchups. And then, of course, we want to see Teddy. We love Teddy. We miss Teddy. We want to see Teddy. I know, Flip, you're not a Teddy guy, but I'm a Teddy guy. Still am. That's my quarterback. Whoa. And
shots fired.
Flip, Flip, you don't like any Vikings that move on from us. You're like, all right, forget them. I don't care about them anymore. And Teddy's still my guy.
So
Teddy's still
Flip,
your guy. You can't even beat out Drew Lock. Why are we still repping the dude?
Flip, who
Hey,
gets
Drew
more?
Lock's got swag.
Who gets more dap from Vikings players at the game? Kirk Cousins or Teddy Bridgewater?
Teddy, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. and nobody's dapping up Kirk Cousins. He's too busy stuck in the fucking gas.
Yeah, I
Ain't
mean,
nobody touching Cousins.
if you're going to a Vikings preseason game, then you're probably going to be a hardcore Teddy guy. It's just you're in it for the long haul. You're not here for these hired guns. So see what happens 2022.
Ooh, Mission 2022. All right, so Flip, it's not a real game, but it's kind of a game. What are you looking for? Because I know you're Mr. Player Development. You love seeing the young guys out there. What are the position groups that you're going to be paying attention to when the casual fan is long turned off the game and it's the guys fighting for their jobs out there. What are you going to be looking at? Who do you hoping you see some signs of life from?
Man, I am getting attacked on this show. You get me to come on, and then Jason, this game's at like 1 p.m. on a Saturday. Man, we got some beaches to head to. We got some patio bars to be at.
When you're catching the replay on NFL Network the next day.
I got to be on NFL Network at 1 p.m. on a Saturday? Like,
Flip was offended for all Californians that I asked him if he was watching this preseason game. My bad.
I'm just praying for health, man. Praying everybody gets out of there healthy. It's so easy to just make a bunch of snapback judgments on this one game, but it's the first of 3, and we're like a month from the season. So even some of the things like Christian Darrisaw getting back to health, Wyatt Davis being low on the depth chart, Kellen Mond coming along, just hoping those guys stay healthy, get in another full week of practice, get them used to being in the stadium, and getting them in that rhythm of practicing weekly basis, going to a game, and hopefully they grow from there. I do not remember Justin Jefferson's preseason at all. Let me put it that way. I don't remember Dalvin Cook's preseason because it was literally like, okay, he's good. Let's keep him healthy. Let's get him out of there. So that's just what I'm looking for the majority of the stars. And like the scrubs, they can fight it out. Hopefully we get some good Taylor Heineke stories, or maybe some Kyle Sloter type moments, but just something to keep us talking about the bottom of the depth chart just for all these good stories before they get cut off the team and we get ready for the true season.
Deshaun, are we filling up the Mond Pond with this game? Is this the start of Mond achieving Sloter-like status? Talk to me, man.
I don't think it is. Listen, I think Jake Browning comes in and it starts to really put a lock on that QB too. I think that's going to be. This is the Broncos are a well-coached defense. Even their second and third strings are going to be playing seriously. So I think that QB2 between Browning and Mond is going to be something to watch for almost the entirety of the game. I don't think Nate Stanley gets too many snaps. I think he's kind of already out of it. And then also, I want to see our fast guys against guys who actually know how to tackle. ISM, Kene Nwangu. These guys training camp, they're blazing by people, but they don't get to tackle. So now I get to see them someone actually attempt to tackle them, and we get to see them in the open field. We get to see if Kubiak uses them with gadget plays and really get them out in open space and really see what they can do.
Love it. Ryan, I know it's preseason. I know we're probably not going to see a lot, but is there anything that you're hoping to maybe get a feel for with new Kubiak? And do you think we're going to get any sort of feel for what he's like as a play caller, or how he designs things, or what sort of flow he wants to get into now that he's calling the shots? Is there anything you're hoping to see from him?
Yeah, hoping to see and realistically expecting to see are very different things. So yeah, I mean, hoping to see, I'd love to see a little bit more innovation. Obviously we're probably not going to show that in the preseason, right? Like we'll save that for the regular season, but just a little bit more new age concepts of, a little Kyle Shanahan-esque type variations in the run game. Obviously, I would love to see more 3 wide receiver sets because that makes a lot more sense. Welcome to SEC. Yeah, we're going to dominate that too. So I'm excited about that.
Is that
But yeah,
doodle?
so so I'd love to see a little more like 3 wide receiver sets, get away from that 12 personnel and get more into that 11 personnel. I think that would be ideal, especially since we don't have. I mean, Tyler Conklin's nice and all. I like him. He's fine, but he's not. Irv Smith as the tight
we're not
end
going to
too,
disrespect Tyler Conklin on here, man.
No, I'm
nice.
not disrespecting him. He's nice.
Don't
but
do
like,
this. Don't
again,
do this, man.
fans.
he's
Right.
nice. I like
for
him.
you.
I like him, but I
this.
don't think we should be running that 12 personnel over and over and over and over again when we have Amir Smith-Marset who could develop well. We have D.D. Westbrook, hopefully once healthy, back to his old ways and, at least his 2019 self. I'd love to see, more concepts like that as well as the heavy run game because we do have a good run game. I mean, I love to pass more, of course, because analytically and statistically, that's the way to go. But we're effective with what we do. And I'm not saying we need to go away from that completely, but we also have some talent on this in this wide receiver room. Probably could add some more, but we have some talent in this wide receiver room that likely could, contribute contribute effectively. And I'd love to see that. Again, I don't expect it. I expect to kind of see the same old stuff, but if you ask what I want to see, that's what I want to see.
Love it. Flip, based on all the crazy wrinkles that we're hearing Zim is kind of installing in camp so far, and the fact that he's really he's going no holds barred in practice, dialing up overload blitzes and things on day one with pads coming on. Are you expecting him to reach into his bag at all in this game? Is there anything that you think that given that it's a shortened time frame and we got some young guys doing some different things, do you think Zim's gonna show us anything in this game, or do you think it's gonna be completely vanilla?
I think it's going to be pretty vanilla. I think it's really honestly just getting all 11 starters onto the field, keeping it low. You dial it up in practice because he's got a bunch of new toys. He wants to try it out. So maybe we see a few blitzes, but Anthony Barr, even if Zim calls a blitz, Anthony Barr's not going full speed, right past that stunt. We're not doing, I just don't see that happening. Sure, we can do a little zone blitz, DJ Wanham dropping into coverage, but again, Mike Zimmer saves his shots for third downs and for the main season when he really needs them. So, again, just stay healthy, see the young guys. Hopefully they make some plays that gives them confidence to turn into real players. I think that's important. But, if Cam Bynum's returning a pick six, I'm happy for the guy. I think it's great for his confidence. I'm not crowning him, starter over Xavier Woods. So,
Flip, I didn't ask you earlier. Rashad Breeland, we kind of glossed past that, but Dantzler, he did fairly well as a rookie. Rashad Breeland has come in, and this first iteration of the depth chart is the starter. Should we make anything of that? Is this Zim showing deference to a veteran, or do we think this is really what it's going to be when the season kicks off?
I think this is pretty close to what it's going to be. And, the range of outcomes we talked about with Rashad Breeland, I think he's proving to be, literally right past Cam Dantzler. It looks like they signed him to be a starter. It looks like they got out of minicamp without Gladney and without Cameron Dantzler and says, hey, we don't have a second cornerback right now. So, they paid up for him. I think his contract's in the $4 to $5 million range. But if he's going to be starting CB2 week 1 through week 18, hopefully he keeps that together and he's able to lock down the secondary options when we go to games on Sunday.
And I'm not sure if all of y'all just peeped that, but we have royalty watching with us tonight. The man is back, Mr. Jake Anderson. If you need an Avi for fantasy football, holler at the man. He is the best in the business. He stepped away from us for a little while, went full fantasy, but he's back in all of his Vikings fandom, and we are glad to have him. So shout out to Jake. good to see you here. And what you said is
Thanks,
spot
Jake.
on. You know, the players will be going hard. The calls will be vanilla. But we're going to be
Jake's
watching.
calling me out. Jake disagrees. Jason's calling me out. Just a hard time in the huddle right now. It's like,
Oh, no.
it's like I just pulled a Case Keenum and I've got to come back into the huddle. Y'all here just coming at me.
My bad. I did not mean to disrespect the beach flip. Please forgive me. Forgive me. That is my bad. But that's it. I feel like we covered the vast majority of things we wanted to go over here. So we're going to go rapid fire real quick before we wrap this thing up. Deshaun, I'm starting with you. What player are we going to be talking about after this game?
I think Keenan Nwangu. I think he electrifies the whole time he's in. I think we come away really talking about this guy as a legit option in this offense after game 1.
Oh, I love it. Ryan, how about you?
I think Kellen Mond makes some flashy plays. I don't think he's going to go and secure the QB2 job or anything like that, but I think he's going to get this fan base excited with a play or two that the other 3 or 4, I should say 3 because I think Oline is relatively athletic, right? But the other 3 quarterbacks we have on our roster can't do, which is move with the leg. So I bet he makes one big play that way. It makes probably one ooh or ah throw, 1 or 2 of those, and it's going to get the fan base excited about that QB2 competition.
All right. And Flip, who are you expecting that we're going to be talking about?
Yeah, Ryan took my answer. I think Kellen Mond is just the style of athlete that we've forgotten about for the past couple years. So that would my number one answer. But I'll give you another one. We all know where this is heading, y'all. We're going to be talking about the kickers. Preseason is preseason for a lot of positions, but when you're a kicker lining up to take a field goal out there, it's not that much different from an actual game. So Riley Patterson, Greg Joseph, whether those kicks go in or out, we're going to be talking about it.
Listen, I don't think Riley Patterson has missed a kick since he came off the pup list, and then Mike Zimmer compared him to Daniel Carlson. There is no love out here for these kickers at all.
The man went back on the pup or something. I don't know.
He's been perfect, and then he draws a Daniel Carlson comparison.
Zim hates kickers. I mean, that's just what that is. He hates them,
I do too.
And I can't really blame the man. But, that's it. That's all. Gentlemen, as always, thank you for coming through, making time. Joseph, keep coming through, and we will work on getting you an introduction. It might not be on the level with Jake, because Jake is an OG in the game, but we'll do what we can. See if we can get your intro game moved up just a little bit. Flip,
Start
Ryan,
from the
Deshaun.
bottom, now we're here.
That's right. We're moving up. And, yeah. That's it. That's all. David, are you still sober enough to pop on and tell the folks what's happening for the rest of the week?
Sure. First off, we have, if I ever bring up my camera, but you should be able to hear me.
We can hear you.
Tomorrow night, we're having Vikings happy hour, and I don't know who the guest is yet. Oh. The host, Matt, is keeping it a secret. But I'm sure you'll find out tomorrow. And then, of course...
Yinka.
And I'll be there. I'll be there tomorrow night. I'll be there tomorrow night. Hey, and actually, especially Minnesota fans here, make sure to tune in tomorrow. I think we're going to be doing a preseason ticket giveaway because Flip doesn't want that trash 1 o'clock game ticket. So we're going to be giving them away. So tune in tomorrow at Vikings Happy Hour. We'll be giving away a couple tickets to that Vikings preseason game.
Love it.
And then after that, awesome. It's Thursday.
There's David.
And what do we have on Thursday, Flip?
Vikings hot takes. Right,
Absolutely.
people? We're talking after the scrimmages, before the game. So we'll have plenty to talk about. Me, Flip Mozzie, and Eric Thompson from the Daily Norseman. We're excited. So come visit, y'all. Come on and keep on joining the conversation.
There it is. David, play the music.
Absolutely. SKOL, everybody.
SKOL.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And if you're listening on your favorite aggregator, make sure you rate us. And always feel free to join the conversation here at Climbing the Pocket. SKOL, everybody.